Hey class, I'm Mr. Thornton, you've got 10 days until May and I'm going to help you succeed in your GCSE. This lesson, teaching other people. You may have wondered sometimes how it is your teachers can remember off the top of their heads so much about topics which you're currently struggling to learn yourself. And it's quite simple. They've had to sit down and figure out how to teach them. Now, probably the first time that they taught them, they had to revise that subject themselves before they went into the lesson. Or maybe they had some notes with them to refer to before they went into the lesson. And the next time they'd be a bit better at it, and the next time they'd be a bit better at it still. I've been teaching since 2002, which means that since 2002 I've taught some subjects every year or sometimes twice a year, and so I'm pretty good at all those ones which I've been through lots. Obviously, you don't have time for that, but you can take advantage of the fact that teaching will help you learn a topic as well. Now, before we go any further, I just want to show you this graphic, which represents how different learning methods affect how much information you retain. This crops up quite a lot in education. Probably most of you teachers have already seen it, and they may well have shown it to you as well. What it's showing basically is that simply reading some information, it's pretty ineffective. And without reading out all of these, as we get down to the bottom, you can see that teaching people about a topic is the most effective here. There's a little bit of a problem with this graphic, which is that the numbers on there are a load of rubbish. They are totally made up. They've been sort of accepted as fact, as common knowledge, but actually there's no real basis. No one even seems very clear on where this came from. It could have been the National Training Laboratories in the US in the 1960s, or it could have been Edgar Dale, who wrote something like this in the 1940s. There are various versions of it, and again, no one's entirely sure. Certainly Edgar Dale's original version did not have any numbers on it. That said, it does provide us at least with a useful rule of thumb. Your experiences may vary, and of course this is going to vary from person to person, as anything would. Don't assume that by teaching something to someone else, you are definitely going to learn 90% of that thing. Maybe you'll learn more, maybe you'll learn less. It's difficult to say. But it is a very effective way to help you understand a topic, to help you really get that depth of understanding, which is going to get you to the really high grades. So teaching is not definitely going to make it so you know 90% of the topic. There are no guarantees here, but if you want to know your topic as well as a teacher, it's a good idea to be the teacher. And the good news is that there are lots of people who you'll be able to teach that topic to. Your class is full of them. So find a friend, make sure that you pair up and divide the topics between you. Choose the topics you find the most difficult. So you go for the one you find tricky and teach that to your friend. And then get them to teach you something. You both get a little bit of extra learning from that other person, plus you have to focus on how to teach that topic too. Particularly for those of you who are finding the other revision techniques a bit boring, this can be a really valuable technique. It lets you mix things up, gives you more variety, but you do need to stay focused on the teaching, not just chatting with a friend. If you don't have the opportunity to meet up with any friends at school at break or lunch, or maybe after school, and you can't get round to each other's houses, then remember there's always all sorts of video chat services as well, and there's nothing stopping you doing the teaching over those. You're going to think about how best to explain that topic, and you are not just allowed to read your notes. You can keep a few notes there just to prompt you, but mostly you need to be talking to the person. You need to be explaining what you're teaching to that person. And they might say, I don't get it. You're going to have to keep trying. You're going to have to keep thinking about how to approach it so that they do get it. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to spend 5 hours on one single thing. If they don't get it, say, okay, we'll come back to that. And think about how else you could present that information to make it a bit clearer for them. Don't waste your entire revision session on just one little bit. Try and move on to the next bit and come back to it another time. If for whatever reason you're unable to arrange to teach that topic to a friend, then there's a couple of other options. Firstly, you could teach it to family members, a brother, a sister, or even your parents. I know they may not be especially keen to learn about how to rearrange equations, or how to perform a titration, or how to conjugate a verb in French, or any of those other things which you're having to learn right now. but it's not that much time out of their day. Ask them politely and they may well be willing to help you. Lastly, if none of those options are working out for you, if you're struggling to find anyone who you know to explain it to, then why not explain it to the entire world? Film a short video on your phone and upload it to YouTube. Now importantly here, do not get bogged down in editing and then messing around with your YouTube settings. You are focusing on the learning here. You are not trying to do this to make it the most professional video ever. Also, I don't want you competing with me. But have a go at that if there are no other options available to you, and you'll find that having to think about it, having to prepare that resource, having to prepare those materials will get you a much deeper knowledge of whatever you're struggling with. I hope that video really helped you. If it did, it really helps my channel when you like, subscribe and share these videos. Let people know I'm going to succeed in my GCSE. All the links and info for this video are in the description, and please let me know what you thought in the comments or on Twitter at Mr. Thornton UK, or use the hashtag #SucceedInMyGCSE. There are loads more GCSE Science videos on my channel too. Here's another one which YouTube thinks you might find useful. You can click my picture just here to subscribe, click down there to check how well you understood with the Snap Quiz website and app, and you can click just here to get my revision guides. Good luck in your GCSEs everyone, and thanks very much for watching.